just keep going. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, it certainly, there are times when things don't go well, and then that's quite dispiriting, for sure. And so then it's difficult to proceed with the same level of enthusiasm. But I do think the things that we're doing are pretty important to the future.
Before we were able to get the Roadster out, they'd say, well, you couldn't possibly make that car work. And then when we made the car work, they'd say, well, nobody's going to buy it. And then people bought it. And then we announced the Model S, and so many people called bullshit on that. It was ridiculous. And yet, actually, we were able to bring it to market. And then when we brought it to market, they said, well, you're never going to be able to produce it at volume. And we did that. And then they said, you will never be able to make a profit. And then we did that in Q1. So I'm hopeful that people will observe that there's a trend here.
And if we don't succeed, then it's not clear what other things would succeed. And if we don't succeed, then we'll be certainly pointed to as a reason why people shouldn't even try for these things. So I think it's important that we do whatever is necessary to keep going. What's the point of a company existing? The point is that it's a group of people that have gathered together to create a product. If the product is good, the company should exist, and if it is not good, the company should not exist. That seems like fundamental to the nature of companies. So clearly then one should focus on making the absolute best product you can, otherwise you reduce the probability of success. But a lot of companies focus on things that aren't really to do with the product, as though a company has any basis for existing apart from doing useful things. That's right.
When I started SpaceX, it was actually, I thought the most likely outcome was that we would fail. In fact, I thought that was really very likely that SpaceX would fail. So it wasn't really with expectation of success that I started the company, obviously. But what gave me a clue that we could make a significant breakthrough was looking at the cost of a rocket, and instead of looking at it with reference to what other rockets had cost in the past, I said, okay, well, what is a rocket made of? What are the material constituents? What metals, carbon fiber, what are the various materials that constitute a rocket? And if you had a pile of those materials arrayed before you and you could wave a magic wand, what would that rocket cost to build? And that is a remarkably small number.
Real danger for digital superintelligence having negative consequences. And so if we are not careful with creating artificial general intelligence, we could have potentially a catastrophic outcome. So, I think there's a range of possibilities. I think the most likely outcome is positive for AI, but that's not every possible outcome. So we need to minimize the probability that something will go wrong with digital superintelligence.